Yes, what we have found in our work in trust is that people have different definitions of trust. And so Cindy Olmstead, who I wrote the book with, and who's been studying trust for 15 or 20 years, found out there's 4 key aspects of trust. And you could be great at 3 of them, but not at 1, and you're in trouble. But A stands for ability. Do people recognize you as skillful, as experienced, as knowing what you're doing? And so that's a really important thing. And so if you're new to a task or to a training assignment, get a mentor, get somebody to work on the ability aspect. B is believability, which is, are you a person of integrity? Can people count on your word? Do you keep confidences with people? It's so important that people believe you as a genuine, caring human being, which then leads into the C, which is connectedness, which is, do you demonstrate that you really care about people? Do you listen to them? Do you praise them? Do you involve them in decision making? Do you look for their input? Do you respect and value them? It's just such a key aspect. And then finally, D is dependability, which is, can people count on your word? If you say you're going to do something, do you do it? Do you follow through? Do you say do you do what you say you're going to do? And it's really interesting. We have an instrument that we shared today that you can get in the book, or you can get copies from us, and you can fill it out. And where do you think you are in each of those variables? And what's really fun is to share that with people around you that work with you and say, where do you think are my strengths? And when I did that and filled it out, and I had my people fill it out, my lowest scores came on dependability, because I'm a positive person. I really haven't heard a lousy idea in a long time. So I say yes too often. So sometimes I don't always follow through on things that I say yes to. So now when I met with my team and they gave me that kind of feedback, I don't have my own card when I go on the road. I have my executive secretary, Marjorie Allen's card. So if you want to get a hold of me, you got to go through Marjorie, and she'd say, what did Ken promise you? You know, and then she can tell you the reality of my schedule. So it's really, really important to do that. I was telling a story too about a father whose son, who's just turned 16 and got his license in the car, said, Dad, can I borrow the car tonight to take a couple of friends down to a concert? And the father thought about it. He said, son, I don't think it's a good idea. So what did the kid immediately say? He said, Dad, why don't you trust me? See, and that's always the issue, you know. And the father said to him, which was really interesting, is, can you think of one time where I've made a decision that involved you that wasn't in your best interest? And the kids thought for a minute, and he couldn't think of one. And he said, no, Dad. And he said, well, then the question maybe is, why don't you trust me? And what was interesting, when they got a copy of the book and the instrument, they read it together and they looked at the instrument, and they had the most interesting discussion, because what the son realized is, Dad, you weren't trusting my ability, you know, because I'm a new driver, and I was really not feeling that I wasn't trusting your believability, because you're always telling me to take initiative and all that, and that I also didn't feel that you were caring about me, you know. And the father said, yeah, I can hear that, and maybe, you know, I wasn't trusting your dependability and all. And they had this most interesting dialogue using those 4 variables. So trust is an important factor. We hope now you'll have a common language that you can use to share with people, whether you're working in a team, one-on-one, or wherever, about where am I now in trust, and how can I improve my trust that you have in me.